GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Sam Menzi, and we have a great show for you today. First topic we're going over is my final mock draft for the draft, which is upcoming this Sunday, so I did just want to go over that for the final time. After that, we'll be going over Paul Skeens being selected to start the All-Star game, the Phillies sweeping the Dodgers, the most sold jerseys of this year, and then going over some important weekend series as well. Now, before we do all that, though, I'd like to ask you to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers to ensure that your question does get read in the air. Please use the link, gsmcpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really has mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so we are going to be doing my MLB Mock Draft, my final one before the actual thing on Sunday. Talking about that today. Now, usually on Fridays, if you watch the show, I usually do power rankings. But with the All-Star break coming up next week and there being no games, I am going to be shifting that to next week and doing, instead of just a weekly power rankings, a full first half power rankings, doing a whole bigger thing, I'd kind of say. You'll see what I mean next week, so stay tuned for that. Not exactly sure what day that will be, but it will be a day next week. So yeah, going into this, going first segment will be my MLB Mock Draft, my final one before Sunday, just giving where I think everyone will go, doing the top 10. And yeah, let's get into it. So, for the first overall pick in the 2024 MLB Draft, I have the Cleveland Guardians selecting J.J. Weatherholt, infielder from West Virginia. Now, Weatherholt is not someone I've had really being the first overall pick for long. I've had him as the first overall pick in the last one as well. But this is a guy I usually either had fourth or fifth going, not first overall, and I honestly don't even think he would be top 5 on my big board. Now, Weatherholt is a very interesting talent as an infielder. He doesn't really have a set position, I'd say. He's more of a shortstop or second baseman, but I think he can also play first if you need him to, play third as well. And he's just a very talented young player, 21 years old, again, nice lefty swing, 65 hit tool, 50 power tool, 60 run tool, 50 arm, 50 fielding. So, yeah, Weatherholt is from the Pittsburgh area, would be going now to Ohio. And, yeah, I think he's a fantastic talent, I really do. Again, very athletic, has great hit tool, has some really nice speed, has some really nice arm strength and fielding as well. So the Guardians with this get a really talented prospect, a guy who can be your franchise shortstop or second baseman for a long time. And the thing is, even though I don't think he is the best player in this draft by a long shot, the Guardians seem to be looking like they're going to be going underslot for a pick. That's what I've really heard throughout this entire process, that the Guardians are going to be picking someone underslot, where you don't have to pay him as much money for a guy like Charlie Condon or Travis Bazanza, Chase Burns. You don't have to do that. And you get to save some money for the second round, the third round, the fourth round, the fifth round, wherever you want. So I don't really know if that's what I would do with the Guardians. I don't really agree with that thought process, to be honest. I kind of think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the first overall pick for the Guardians. But, hey, they do what they want to do, right? So, picking Weatherholt, still a fantastic prospect, but I wouldn't have him as the best player in the draft. I really think it's just because of the underslot potential. Now, I still think he's a fantastic talent, great player, but I think we have to look at that as a consideration as well. Second overall, I have the Cincinnati Reds selecting Charlie Condon, third baseman outfielder from Georgia. Condon is, by all accounts, the best player in this draft, has unreal power, set an NCAA record 4 home runs this year with Georgia, is not the greatest defender, but isn't horrible out there, either in third or the corner outfield, wherever you want to play him. Again, it's a guy I think could hit 30 to 40 home runs regularly as a power hitting bat for this Reds team. Can be up rather quickly, I'd say, as well. I think maybe he could be on your opening day roster 2026, maybe even come up late next year. So this is a guy I think that should slot into the top 20 prospects in all baseball as soon as he gets onto here. And yeah, just insane power, is adding in more talent to this talented Red young core with him now, Encarnacion Strand, Matt McClain, Ellie De La Cruz, so many other talented players, Noelvi Marte as well. So Reds get another talented bat here at number 2, and arguably the best player in the draft. At third overall, I have the Colorado Rockies selecting Chase Burns, right-handed pitcher from Wake Forest. Burns is tied with Hagen Smith, I'd say, for the best pitcher in this entire draft. Both are really kind of in the same area. I have the Rockies taking Burns as really they've been connecting throughout. It's really been him or Condon, and with Condon now off the board, of course, them taking Burns, in my opinion at least, seems like the most likely of things. taking a superstar pitcher that can hopefully have his stuff translate to Coors Field is important to them, and the Rockies obviously feel like he can. Having him and Chase Dollander in the wing as two of your future aces for this team can really help you get going for the future. And yeah, I think this would be a great pick for them. I think it would make a lot of sense, and yeah, I think it's good. Now, at 4th overall, I have the Oakland Athletics selecting Travis Bazanza, infielder from Oregon State. Now, Bazanza is, with most people, the second or first best player in this entire draft. He's really up there with Condon from Georgia. But the reason I don't have him going in the top 3 is because of money. It seems like he's going to be wanting a lot of money, which he should, as he is, by consensus, the best player in this draft. And it's looking like the Guardians won't want to pay it. It's looking like the Reds prefer Condon over him, and the Rockies then prefer Burns over him. So it's really just kind of bad luck that he's falling to 4 and falling to the A's. But with this pick, the A's get a transformative talent in Bazanza, a guy from Australia who can be one of the best players in baseball in the next 5 years or so. Has absolutely crazy talent when swinging the bat, is a great player. Again, by most people's account, is the best player in baseball. 21, can be up, I would say, probably by next year. And yeah, I think this guy is fantastic. You're getting a guy who can really represent your franchise when you move to Las Vegas, be a franchise icon. And yeah, I think this is a fantastic bet by Oakland if you were able to have Bazanza fall to you. And yeah, I think they would be rushing to the podium and getting it. 5th overall, I have the Chicago White Sox selecting Jack Guglielmo, first baseman, left-handed pitcher from Florida. Guglielmo is a guy who could hit 40 home runs consistently as a first baseman, or can be a left-handed pitcher for you as well. So, has been compared to the American Shohei Ohtani, which I understand because you want him to be a two-way player. But in my opinion, and I'd say most people's opinions who know a little bit about the draft, he is a significantly better hitter than he is a pitcher, and that's where I assume he will be staying again. This is a guy I assume will be a 40 home run bat at first base, and the White Sox, I'm sure, are eager to pick him up at 5. Falling to 5 again isn't a testament to his talent. It's just, again, underslot, overslot, these kind of things that have to be taken into consideration with the White Sox. Now, with Guglielmo, the White Sox are adding another young, talented piece to their core with guys like Colson Montgomery, Luis Robert, for however long he stays there. So, yeah, I think this is a fantastic pick for the White Sox, getting a guy of his talent, a guy who's already known as well that you can be able to market around. So, yeah, good pick here, and I like it. So, have the White Sox taking Jack Guglielmo at number 5 here. Number 6, I have the Kansas City Royals selecting Hagen Smith, left-handed pitcher from Arkansas. Smith is with Burns, the consensus for the top pitcher in the draft. I've seen Burns get mocked to the Royals a ton now. And yeah, Hagen Smith is a fantastic left-handed pitching prospect. Very crafty, has a really good fastball, has an incredible slider. After that, it's not great, but I really think that two-pitch mix of a fastball and slider is absolutely fantastic. The Royals have been needing a young pitching arm in their prospect system now, and they would get it with Smith. You already have a lot of talented arms in this team, of course, with Seth Lugo, Brady Singer, Cole Reagans, Michael Walker, and now adding in a guy like Hagen Smith who could be up in the next 1 to 2 years and add to your rotation would be pretty fantastic. And yeah, I think he's one of the best pitchers in the draft. Again, 1 and 2 with him and Burns, really, they're very close. And yeah, great pick here. And I have the Royals taking him at number 6. Number 7, I have the St. Louis Cardinals selecting Nick Kurtz, first baseman from Wake Forest. Chase Burns' teammate. Nick Kurtz is an absolutely fantastic lefty first base prospect. Has insane power. I think is on the level of Jack Guglielmo, Charlie Condon, as being a 30 to 40 home run guy consistently. As a bat, is a left-handed hitter that can also play first base pretty well. I mean, can really field there great. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Mark Teixeira, which I think makes a lot of sense as well. A lefty hitting first baseman, obviously Teixeira was switch hitter, so both, who can also field very well. I think Kurtz could be the heir apparent to Paul Goldschmidt there in St. Louis, and I think he would be a really great pick. So I think this would be a fantastic pick by St. Louis and add another great talented piece to this hitting core. Number 8, I have the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim selecting Braden Montgomery, outfielder, Texas A&M. The Angels, in their past few drafts, have taken guys that have been up immediately since being drafted, can come up very soon, and I think that's another guy you're getting here in Montgomery. Montgomery is a nice switch-hitting outfielder from Texas A&M that brings a lot of talent-wise. That brings a lot of talent with the power. Is a really big, powerful bat, 6'2", 220. His good contact as well. He's really good in the outfield there. Is more of a cornerback, but I think can play all around. And yeah, the Angels in this are getting a guy who can come up in the next 1 to 2 years, be a really good power bat, be a really good contact bat, and I think would be another person to add to this young core of players with guys like Zach Neto, Nelson Rada, Logan O'Hoppe, Nolan Schnuel, man, adding in another great talented player here. 9th overall, the Pittsburgh Pirates select James Tibbs, outfielder, Florida State. Pirates are getting an MLB-ready outfielder right now to help aid this young hitting core. You have some pitchers, but I think it's time for them to really get some young hitters and get some young, talented position players into this team. Getting Tibbs, you got a guy who can come up in the next 1 to 2 years, become a really great outfielder for you guys, and again, help out with this young core because the pitching's there. You have an elite top 3 of Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, and Paul Skeens, and adding in a guy like Tibbs would really help you out and really help out this hitting core. So I think this would be a good pick, and yeah, I think this is who the Pirates end up taking. And finally, for the last pick of this mock draft, we have at number 10, the Washington Nationals selecting Bryce Rayner, shortstop from Harvard Westlake High School in California. The only high school player I have going in this top 10, so of course the highest rated one. Rayner is a very raw shortstop prospect with a lot of talent fielding-wise and hitting-wise, and I think will be a fantastic addition to this Nationals young core. Comes from the baseball powerhouse that is Harvard Westlake that has guys like Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, Pete Armstrong come from there, even more than I'm forgetting. But it is a baseball high school. The Nationals are getting a young player like Bryce Rayner that can really help them out, really be a big part of this young core. And yeah, I think this would be a fantastic pick for them in the future. And very excited to see what does end up coming with this pick. So that is my final mock draft here, opening up our show today. Let me know what I got right. Let me know what I got wrong, and I'll be going over it on Monday on our show as well, talking about the draft. So yeah, that is our first segment here, talking about my MLB Mock Draft. Moving into our second segment here, which is going to be talking about Paul Skeens and the decision to have him start the All-Star game. So yeah, we'll be going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We're moving into our second segment here. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you again to please like and follow the show. We do get a number of questions from viewers, so to ensure that your question does get read in the air, please use the link GSMCpodcast.net. It really does help the show, and it really does mean a lot, so thank you so much for that. And let's get back into the show for today. All right, so our second segment is going to be about Paul Skeens and the decision to have him start the All-Star game, so let's get into it. So now, I assume by now that you have heard that Paul Skeens has been decided by NL manager Torey Lovullo, who of course manages the Diamondbacks, that he has chosen Paul Skeens to start the All-Star game here whenever that comes up. I believe it's Tuesday. Now, a lot of people are very happy with the decision. A lot of people are very disappointed with the decision to have a rookie who started 11 games start the game, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it and just give what I think is the correct decision, just Paul Skeens as well. So if you've been listening to my show at all in the past few weeks, I've raved and raved about Paul Skeens and his talent level. I think Skeens is a once-in-a-generation type pitcher that has shown that completely, and I think will be a top 10 pitcher in baseball pretty soon. I mean, he probably is one right now, to be honest. I mean, are you really going to kill 10 pitchers over Paul Skeens with the way he's performing and the pedigree that he had coming out of college? I don't really know. So having him start the All-Star game, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, is a incredible decision that was very, very well done and really is a very, very good decision as well. Having the entire world be shown Paul Skeens on a national spotlight in the All-Star game that'll be shown on ESPN is a perfect decision, and a decision that makes a lot of sense, and I think personally is a very good idea. MLB has always had a problem with marketing their stars, and they're now recognizing a star being born in Paul Skeens, who is very marketable, gets a lot of attention on social media, gets a lot of attention in other spaces as well. I'm sure people don't even watch baseball have heard the name Paul Skeens at this point with how much he's been in the news. So being able to market him on a national stage in the All-Star game on ESPN against other superstars is a fantastic idea, and personally I think it was the only correct idea. Again, MLB has always had a problem marketing their stars, and in a sport nowadays that is dominated by social media, being able to post clips whenever you want, I think having Paul Skeens be shown to a national audience, his talent level, will make people not only get interested in him, the Pirates, but also Major League Baseball. And I'm sure the Pirates organization is foaming at the mouth that they have the next superstar in the MLB. It's very obvious that MLB is kind of grooming Skeens to become the next big superstar of the league, be the face fit, and it looks like he's letting them do it with open arms, which is a good idea. He has a generational talent level, Skeens does, and I think the way that MLB is going to proceed with his career is a big deal, and being able to, again, market him to fans across the country, across the world, is a very good idea. MLB has always needed younger fans, and to be able to have one of your younger superstars in Skeens be shown to people across the world is a great idea to market the game, and personally I'm very excited to watch him. Not only that, but you're going to have him go against some other greatest superstars in the world. In the first inning, he's probably going to face Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, and Juan Soto. Those are three of the best hitters in all of baseball. And having them face Skeens will be something that will be talked about for a long time, and something that really does grow the game exponentially. So I'm very excited with this decision. I think it's a great idea, and personally I don't think MLB could have gotten the decision more correct. So props to them for being able to admit that a rookie who's made 11 starts is the correct choice for the All-Star game, and be able to give the people what they want. Because if you're a baseball fan, you wanted this, and if you didn't want this and you're a baseball fan, I don't know what's wrong with you. So a fantastic decision by them to be able to recognize that this guy's a superstar in the making, and recognize that he is the correct choice to start this game. So looking over Skeens' stats this year, I mean, they're absolutely incredible. He's made, again, 11 starts, has an ERA under 2 at 1.90, went 7 no-hit innings yesterday against the Brewers, who are not just any offense, by the way. The Brewers are a pretty great offense. The Brewers are number 1 in the NL Central right now. Skeens has thrown 66 innings so far, has been pretty durable. There's been no real signs at all about injuries. He has a K per 9 of 12, which is insane. Walk per 9 of 1.76, which is insane. His K to walk ratio is almost at 7, which is absolutely incredible. His K percentage is 34%. His walk percentage is at 5%, which again is just absolutely insane. Just the way that he's dominating players with the strikeout. ERA minus at 46, FIP minus at 65, FIP at 2.58. His barrel percentage is at 6. His hard hit percentage is 37. His max exit velocity is 109.3. So just the way that Skeens has been absolutely dominating people this season has been absolutely incredible, is really just something to withhold. And man, what a season Skeens is having, and has just been absolutely fantastic, incredible, and yeah, just a really great season by Skeens. One of the greatest rookie seasons of all time already, and I think he's pretty much a lock for Rookie of the Year at this point. I don't really think it's too early to say that. The way that, again, he has just been absolutely dominating people, mowing through them, just showing them what a force of nature he is absolutely incredible. And look, man, there's a reason he was picked first overall last year. We saw this talent level. We saw how good he was. And yeah, just an incredible array of talent for Skeens. A absolutely just generational type pitcher. And yeah, just what a talent he is. And yeah, I think, again, making Skeens a face of the game, marketing him, kind of grooming him already to be one of the faces of baseball is a fantastic idea. I think Skeens not only has the talent level to be the face of baseball, but has the charisma as well. You know, we know what his image is like. He has the mustache. He dates someone famous. He does all that, and I think overall Skeens is a very, very talented player and is someone that is just fantastic in all the ways. I'm quickly going to a question from the chat. This is from Anthony. Anthony says, I'm a Marlins fan, so I'm wondering, do you think we stick with drafting pitching because we know how to develop it? That's a really interesting question, actually. And I wish I knew the answer, but I get what you're going at. Obviously, the Marlins are known for developing talented pitchers. I mean, the array of talent they have right now with guys like Sandy Alcantara, Braxton Garrett, Yuri Perez. Obviously, some of those guys are hurt, but the way that they have pitching in their organization is absolutely fantastic. He says, also, hypothetically, if Jose Fernandez was coming out of high school at the same time Paul Skeens is being drafted out of LSU, who would go number one? Wow, that's a really, really interesting question, actually. I'm going to go with Skeens. I think Jose Fernandez was a generational type pitching prospect as well. Obviously, taken away from us way too soon. But, man, the way Skeens just absolutely dominated college in LSU, in that division as well, was just incredible. And high school pitchers, honestly, they have a lot of risk with them. A lot of high school pitchers have a lot of injury risk with them. And pitchers nowadays, of course, are getting a ton of Tommy John problems. They're getting a lot of arm problems. But with high school pitchers, I really think we've seen a lot of them being bust over the past few years. And just because of Skeens being in college, I would have gone with him. But it is a very interesting question. I mean, also Fernandez was drafted 14th overall, and Skeens was drafted 1st overall. So it's a very interesting question. But personally, I would go with Skeens. But again, I think it's a question that really is up for debate. After that as well, also going back to the Marlins question, I think they're probably going to go with a bat just because they have so much pitching already. But I've also said they're going to go with a bat in the draft for a number of years now. I don't really know. I mean, it is a new regime at the top. Of course, you have Peter Bendix coming in there and kind of blowing up everything about the organization, trading everyone. You're ready to trade Arias. You're going to trade Jazz soon. You're going to trade Tanner Scott soon. So it'll be interesting to see. But I do think they go with the bat. But I'm also not entirely confident about my answer, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah, it will be very interesting to see what they do end up deciding. But both of your questions are very good, by the way, so keep them coming. I'm having a good time talking there. But, yes, I think Skeens ultimately has exactly what it takes to become a face of the league, become a true superstar of the game. Again, he has the appearance with the mustache. He dates someone famous. He handles pressure very well. He has a lot of swag on that mound. He's a very intimidating presence, and I think that overall Skeens definitely will become a face of the league, and being able to market him to a national audience in this All-Star game is the right step to be able to recognize his talent and recognize maybe him as someone who can really be, again, someone who represents the game of baseball going forward. So that was our second segment here, talking about Paul Skeens and the All-Star game. Moving into our third segment here, we are going to be talking about the Phillies and their sweep over the Dodgers. So yeah, we'll be going into that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. We're going to do our third segment, which is going to be talking about the Phillies' commanding sweep over the Dodgers in their series over this week, starting Tuesday, ending yesterday on Thursday, of course. So I did want to just talk about that. I mean, two NL heavyweight powerhouse. I did a preview of the series as well on here. So I wanted to be able to talk about it and just give my overall thoughts on it. So starting off with the first game on Tuesday, it ended up being 10-1 Phillies. They would just absolutely blow out this Dodgers team. Bobby Miller was beyond the mound, who ended up getting sent down right after that. So obviously the Phillies made a lasting impact with the Dodgers that, okay, Bobby Miller, there's something wrong with him. But yeah, I mean, looking at the scoring, it's just unbelievable. Rafael Marchand will start off the game with an RBI single. Kyle Schwarber, 2 RBI single, would make it 3-0. Johan Rojas would make it 4. Trey Turner grand slam would be the big blow in the bottom of the 4th, making it 8-0. And then a Bryson Stott home run would follow it up right after, making it 9-0 Phillies. The Dodgers would get a run with a Kevin Biggio home run, his first as a Dodger, I believe. No, his third as a Dodger, sorry. That would make it 9-1, but a Brandon Marsh home run in the bottom of the 7th, his 8th of the year, would end up making it 10-1 Phillies and just blow out this game. I mean, just a commanding series win for this Phillies team to open up the series like that. You know, again, 2 real NL heavyweights, and being able to win the series that commanding, being able to win that game of the series that commanding is absolutely incredible. Again, Bobby Miller was on the mound. He went 4 innings, giving up 9 earned runs. The Phillies would have on the mound Zach Wheeler, who went 5 innings, only giving up 1 run. So obviously a big difference there in the way their pitchers performed. But yeah, great job by the Phillies offense and a great job by their pitching. Just so in sync for that game. Next game would be a little closer, as the Phillies would end up winning. Let me see the score there. They would end up winning 4-3. So looking at the scoring, we would have in the bottom of the 1st a Kyle Schwarber leadoff home run, his 18th of the year, to make it 1-0. Bottom of the 2nd, a Whit Merrifield RBI groundout would make it 2-0 Phillies. But the Dodgers would start to come back a little bit with a Miguel Rojas RBI groundout to make it 2-1. A Shohei Ohtani RBI single would make it 2-2. And then a Trey Turner RBI single would make it 3-2. Then a Bryson Stott RBI single would make it 4-2. So it would be 4-2 Phillies going into the 8th now. The Dodgers would end up getting a run with a Miguel Rojas RBI single, scoring Andy Pages to make it 4-3. But the Dodgers would squander any other opportunity to score in this game, losing the game 4-3 to the Phillies. The Phillies had on the mound pitching for them Christopher Sanchez, who would go 6 innings pitched, giving up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, which is a really good job by him. Really nice start against the Dodgers offense. Man, what a season as Sanchez had for this Phillies team. The Dodgers had on the mound Gavin Stone, who went 4 2/3 innings pitched, giving up 9 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So another great start by a Phillies starting pitcher. Another great game by them. Absolutely fantastic, and just continue to dominate. Another question from the chat here, which I will go and answer, and then continue with the Phillies. And also from Anthony. Do you think teams like Miami struggle to develop hitting because of the minor league parks they develop their players in? Are geared towards is geared toward more developing pitchers, or not how it works? I don't really know, to be honest. I think maybe the parks could have something to do with it, but I also think that good pitchers are so hard to find nowadays, especially with injuries, that they may have shifted their focus more. But I think an organization like Miami just found the right guys for pitching development. I mean, didn't find the right guys for hitting development. I think it's just kind of how it worked. I don't really think there's something big with that, but I think the parks could have something to do with it. Yeah, but overall, I don't really know, and I think it's an interesting question to ask, and I think it's something that really is going to be very interesting. So, next, going to this game here on Thursday with the Phillies and the Dodgers, we starting off the game with a Trey Turner solo home run, make his 9th of the year to make a 1-0 Phillies. Start off the game real nice. Brandon Marsh home run would make it 2-0. Gavin Lux, though, would answer back for the Dodgers, making it 2-1. Brandon Marsh with an RBI triple to make it 3-1. A Johan Rojas RBI single would make it 4-1. Then a Kyle Schwarber solo home run in the bottom of the 8th would make it 5-1. The icing on the cake, and the Phillies would end up winning that game, of course, 5-1, and dominate the series against the Dodgers, sweeping them. The 2 best NL teams this year played, and the Phillies swept them. Just a dominating win by them, and just absolutely fantastic. Now, how significant is the Phillies sweeping the Dodgers is the question I think we really have to ask ourselves. I think it's significant. I do. I think that anytime the best team in the NL can beat the best team in the NL in as convincing a fashion they did like this, it is something to look at. It is something to be, it is something to take as significant. But I also don't think that it's the end-all be-all for the series. I don't really think that the Dodgers season is now just over. I think that, they have some work to do. and they have to acquire a starting pitcher for the deadline. I think that's really what it is. I think the Dodgers have some concerns with their pitching, and the main one should be, in my opinion, the starting pitching. Now with Bobby Miller going to the minor leagues and not doing as great, I think being able to get a starting pitcher at the deadline, I've connected with Garrett Crochet multiple times, Tyler Anderson, Nathan Eovaldi. Getting a starting pitcher for me has to be your number one priority. And I'm very excited to see what starting pitcher the Dodgers do get, because whenever they make a trade, it is significant. But I think right now a lot of people are looking at this as a NLCS preview, which I think is true. But let's let the Dodgers get to full strength with this. Let's let them get Bobby Miller back. Let's let them get Clayton Kershaw back. And yeah, it should be a very interesting team to watch for the future, and just very interesting to see what is going on with this deadline. Another question from Anthony here, though. Are you surprised that both Thomas White and Noble Mayer, the two young pitchers that Miami drafted last year, were selected for the future game a year after they were drafted? Not really. Noble Mayer was drafted high for a reason. I was very high on him when he was drafted. And Thomas White is another guy I like as well, left-handed pitcher coming out of Massachusetts. I think that this guy also has a lot of nice, crafty stuff, and I think both, again, are going to be very big pieces of this Miami rotation in the future. And he says, realistically, do you think Miami can get a premium return for Jazz Chisholm, or is no team going to give their top prospects? I think it should be somewhere in the middle. I think you could be able to get a top 100 prospect if you really have teams with interest. But I also don't think there's going to be some amazing return as well. I don't think it's going to be kind of a generational prospect return or something that really helps your franchise out. Like if Jesus Luzardo, if he was healthy, for example, and he was pitching like he was last year, I think you could expect a premium return for him. But I think Jazz is a very solid player, but I think there are some teams have some concerns with his character and the way he, uses himself and kind of talks about veteran players. I don't really think that's a concern, but some teams have that. But I still think Jazz is a fantastic player, and I think you're going to get a good return for him. But I don't think it should be anything more than that. I don't think it should be anything more than just a good, solid return for Jazz. But again, I think he's a very valuable asset. He can play the outfield, he can play the infield. He has a lot of swag when he plays. He's a good ambassador for the game, being from the Bahamas. Has a lot of speed in the base pass. I think is a very good young player that can mold into a great player with the right team. And I think they are going to get some good prospects back, but I think expecting anything other than some good prospects is setting yourself up for disappointment, which I think is unfortunate because I think Jazz's value has really fallen off in the past few years. So overall, again, I think Jazz is a very good player, but I think expecting a huge prospect capital, as you say, a premium return, I just don't think that's very realistic. And yeah, it should be interesting to see what team trades for him and overall what the prospect package back is for Miami. So yeah, should be interesting there. But just going back over the Dodgers, I think that overall this team has a lot to work on. I do think they have to acquire a starting pitcher. I think they have to acquire a center fielder or get James Outman back up there in the major leagues. Just not sure that's going to happen though. So yeah, very interesting to see what the Dodgers' decision is going to be, what decisions they make, and who they end up trading for the starting pitching talent. So yeah, should be interesting. And yeah, I am very excited to see what the Dodgers do end up trading for at this deadline, because again, whenever they make a trade, it's big news. So that was our third segment here, talking about the Philadelphia Phillies sweeping the Los Angeles Dodgers. I realized I didn't talk about the Phillies enough during this segment, but what does there to say? I think to me this really establishes themselves as the best team in the NL consistently. I mean, I've talked about it before, but I really think this does confirm it. They are absolutely dominant. They have so many great starting pitchers on this roster. They have so many great young hitting talented players. Not young really, but just great hitting talented players. So yeah, just the Phillies are an absolutely outstanding team, and yeah, are clearly the best team in the NL now at this point. Moving on to our fourth segment here, we are going to be talking about the most sold jerseys of this year. The list did just come out, so I did want to give my thoughts on it and, give my thoughts on where people are, some surprises, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, going over that, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast. We're going to do our fourth segment, which is going to be talking about the most sold jersey list of this year, going over my thoughts and just going over people that were surprises, not surprises, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I just want to get into it. So, we did release this, and we'll go over it. So, at number one, we have from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani. Not an entire surprise here. Shohei is the face of baseball. He's huge internationally as well. Everyone who knows who he is, I think people who don't know the first thing about baseball know who Ohtani is. Makes a lot of sense that Ohtani is number one here. I don't think anybody is surprised about that. He is very, very good. Face of baseball, probably the best player in baseball, and yeah, makes a ton of sense that he is number one on this list here. Number two, we have from the Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper. Also, again, makes sense. I wasn't really expecting Harper to be here at number two, kind of just because I thought maybe a lot of people would have had Harper jerseys already. He's been in the league for a long time. He's been in the Phillies for a long time, but maybe with the City Connect jerseys as well, they wanted to buy one of that. Ohtani makes sense because people were buying the new Dodger jerseys, of course, going to a new team. But, yeah, having Harper here makes a ton of sense. Again, though, he is one of the faces of baseball, is the best player on a huge market team in Philadelphia, a team that is very known as well. I think, again, this makes a lot of sense, is very obvious to be, and yeah, is a very, very obvious point here. Number three, we have from the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge. Again, one of the faces of baseball, not entirely surprising. Again, I feel like people would have had Aaron Judge jerseys, but it just shows how much Judge is growing the game, how big of a piece he is to this game, and just how significant of a player he is. Again, he's the best player on arguably the biggest sports team in the world, the New York Yankees. The Yankees are not just a baseball team, but they're a brand. I think it's kind of the same with the Dodgers as well. You can wear a Yankees hat or a Dodgers hat as style. It doesn't have to be just because you're a fan of the team. If you walk down the street with a Royals hat, it's not many other reasons why, except if you're doing not so great things. So I think that overall, having Judge here at number three on this list makes a ton of sense, and yeah, makes a lot of sense. Number four, here we have our second Dodger, Mookie Betts. Again, makes a ton of sense. Mookie is one of the faces of baseball. Is a fantastic, fantastic player. Is hurt actually this year, of course, but still is a guy that a ton of people know and really is one of the faces of baseball. And also, another thing that has to do with this is, of course, he is one of the faces of baseball for, I think, young black players. There are not a lot of great black baseball players in the game right now, and Mookie is the best one by far, I'd say. And diversity is important in baseball, and being able to have a superstar like Mookie who is as talkative as him, who is as articulate as he is, who is as fun as he is, who is as successful he is, having his podcast, having his YouTube channel, being on the Dodgers broadcast right now while he's hurt. He's a great ambassador for the game, and I think we need more people like him, and yeah, definitely grows the game. Number five, we have also someone who's hurt from the Atlanta Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. Ronald would probably be number one on this list if he wasn't hurt. I really think so. I think with Ohtani, he's really up there as one of the faces of the game. The way he plays the game is so fun. It's so exciting. His talent is also incredible, of course. And yeah, I think it makes a ton of sense that he's here. Top five, and again, the Braves are a very popular team as well, so it makes a ton of sense that Acuna's here, and I think he definitely would have been higher as well if he didn't get hurt. Number six, we have our second New York Yankee on this list, Juan Soto. I honestly thought Soto would have been at one or two, just because of everyone buying the new Soto jerseys for the Yankees. With guys like Acuna, Betts, Judge, Harper, they've already been on their teams for a number of years. Ohtani, of course, hasn't, and I'm sure he would have been number one always, but I kind of thought Soto would be number two with the way that people would have been buying those 22 Yankees jerseys. Maybe they're left over from when you had another guy who wore 22. That's the beauty of the Yankees jersey. You can, wear it whoever because there's no names. So But overall, I would have thought he would have been higher just because I thought people were going to buy his name. I wanted to buy his jersey because of the new team he's on. But still, one of the faces of baseball, a fantastic player, and yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Number 7, we have from the other New York team, right there, my jersey, Francisco Lindor. My favorite player. I've had his jersey for a long, long time now, his black jersey specifically. It's beautiful, beautiful jersey. And yeah, makes a ton of sense. Again, the Mets are also a popular team being in the New York market. Again, they are the little brother team, quote unquote, to the Yankees. They're not as popular, but at the same time, still a very known team, so a lot of people know them in New York. You'll see people walking around with Mets hats even if they don't know the first thing about baseball. So they're a brand as well, and with Lindor being an international player, being from Puerto Rico, having ties to obviously the Hispanic community, being a mainstay in the World Baseball Classic, it makes a ton of sense that Lindor is here. And yeah, kind of thought he would be higher as well, so it makes a lot of sense. 8, we have from the San Diego Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr. Tatis makes a ton of sense being on this list. Again, one of the more marketable players in all of the game when he is healthy and when he's doing his thing. He's very exciting with the power he brings, the speed, the hair, the everything, playing for the Padres, this warm weather team, those jerseys. His father was a major leaguer, so yeah, Tatis also makes a ton of sense. I think one of the faces of baseball. 9, Corey Seager from the Texas Rangers also makes a ton of sense. Texas is a huge team. Seager was the World Series hero from them last year. I think a lot of people were going to buy that, World Series jersey of Corey Seager, which makes a ton of sense. And yeah, I think overall, easy pick here, and yeah, it's very obvious. Number 10, we have his Texas twin, Jose Altuve. Kind of thought Altuve would be higher as well. One of the faces of baseball. I know he's kind of dropped in that regard with all the cheating scandal stuff with the Astros, but people still love Altuve. He's still a very known, big part of this list, and yeah, makes a ton of sense. 11, we have from the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado. Arenado's kind of surprised. I think he's still a really good player, and he's still very known, but I think at this point I wasn't really expecting him to be on this top 20 list, but people still like him. The Cardinals are a very, very known team. A lot of people like them. They have a great fan base, and I think they're also one of those teams where you don't have to be a baseball fan to wear their merch, wear a Cardinals hat, wear a Cardinals jersey, whatever. So I think it makes sense there, and of course is still a very popular and known player who still is very talented. Not as talented as he once was in his younger years, but still a very good player. 12 from the New York Mets, Pete Alonso. Same thing as I said with Lindor, except really the international appeal. Alonso is a very known player. A lot of people love him on a very known team, on a big market team like the Mets. Makes a ton of sense. Has been on this list for a long time, I think. And yeah, I think it's very obvious. Trey Turner here, 13 from the Philadelphia Phillies. Like Bryce, is a big-time player on a big-time team. The Phillies are a huge market team, and having Trey Turner on this list makes a ton of sense, and I think is very obvious to have. Turner is a very talented player, is on one of the most talented teams in all of baseball. A very known team, again, big market team in Philly, and he's a very talented player, and I think it definitely makes sense. 14, we have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. For now, not sure how much longer he'll be on the Blue Jays, but yeah, having Vladdy on this list, I think also makes a lot of sense. I think people go out and buy his jersey all the time. Again, he represents a whole country, not just one state like a lot of these players do. Has that unique opportunity to get jersey sales. His dad is a Hall of Famer. People know him, and yeah, I think that, again, Vladdy being on this list makes a ton of sense. Another guy who I think I could argue being a face of the game, and yeah, it makes a ton of sense and was always going to be on this list. I think this is very obvious. 15, Ellie De La Cruz from the Cincinnati Reds. He's getting up there, man. I think Ellie is really going to be high on this list as the years get further and further down the line. I think Ellie is becoming a future face of this league, of this game, and I think that he is really going to become a guy that, again, becomes a face of the game, along with an Ohtani, a Harper, a Judge, a Mookie, a Skeens. And yeah, I think that overall, Ellie is a fantastic, fantastic player, someone who has all the talent in the world, is very marketable with how nice he is. He's learned to speak English already. And yeah, I think that overall, he is a very, very talented player that is 100% one of the faces of the league right now. 17, Matt Olson from the Braves. kind of weird. Didn't really expect that. Kind of random, but I guess the Georgia boy has Braves fans buying his jersey. Still a very good player, one of the best first basemen in baseball, but not a guy I imagine would be on a top 20 jersey sold list. 18, Manny Machado from the Padres. Kind of thought he would be higher, but I guess with Tatis taking the boatload of the Padres jerseys, it makes sense. Manny's still a very good player, just is not the same as he once was, so maybe that's the reason why he's not higher on this list. But still, is a fantastic player. Really good, very marketable. A guy who plays the game with a lot of joy, a lot of excitement, and yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for him to be here. Number 19, we have Bo Bichette from the Toronto Blue Jays. Again, kind of random, but him and Vladdy are kind of the faces of Toronto, of the Blue Jays team, and the way that they're able to represent a whole country, I think is very important for a jersey sale, and does make a lot of sense here. And finally, number 20, we have Ohtani's teammate, the third Dodger on this list, Freddie Freeman. Yeah, Freeman is a very marketable guy, very nice guy, fun-loving guy, and being on the Dodgers makes a ton of sense that he is on this list, so I think it makes So that was the top 20 jersey sold list here. Just tell me in the comments what you think stands out, what doesn't, who was left off, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, going over that, and we'll be going into our fifth segment now, which is going to be talking about some series over the weekend, just giving my thoughts on 5 important series over this weekend, and just going over them, and we'll see you after the break. So thanks, and bye. And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fifth and final segment here for today, talking about some important series from over this weekend that we are going to be seeing. These series are, of course, going to be the last ones that these teams play before the All-Star break, so I think it's important to talk about these ones that are important and just go over them and what they mean for both these teams that are playing in them. So we're going over 5 of them. First off, we're going over the Battle of Texas, the Texas Rangers, and the Houston Astros. Now, the series is very important for both these teams, I'd say. Looking at this AL West standings right now, of course, both these teams have not played the greatest. I mean, we expected the Astros to be winning the AL West. They're not. The Rangers coming off a World Series berth. They're not even in the playoffs. And looking at this right now, we have the Rangers and the Astros separated by 5 games. Astros only 2 games behind in the AL West. And looking at the AL wild card right now, both of them are not in it. The Astros 2.5 behind and the Rangers 7.5 behind. First of all, starting with the Rangers, I think what the series means is if you can end up winning the series, I think it's going to be time to sell, because then you'll probably be around 8 or 9 back of the wild card, probably 8 or 9 back of the division, and I just don't think there's a realistic way for you to get in, and I don't think there's a realistic way for you to justify buying. So for them, I really think this kind of is the last straw for them to be able to buy or sell. Personally, I would have sold. I still think they should sell anyways, kind of gear up towards the future, but it is whatever. And the Astros, I think this really should determine how much they are going to buy. If you win this series, let's say you sweep, and then you maybe take over the Mariners seed, take over the Mariners as the AL West division leader right now, you take over high in the wild card if you don't take over the Mariners. I'm buying hard. I'm trying to go all out for Garrett Crochet. I'm trying to get a Jack Flaherty type. If not, maybe you get some lower pieces, like a Tyler Anderson, something like that. I really think it determines how much you are going to buy as a team, how much prospect capital you're going to give up, and how good of a team you really believe you can be. So I think that's really what is going to be happening with this Astros team. And yeah, just overall, what is going to be going on with them and just what their future looks like for the rest of this year. Going into Yankees and Orioles, this is big. Of course, it is a divisional matchup. The Yankees and Orioles have been fighting for the top seed in the AL East this entire year, and whenever they play in each series, it's very important. Garrett Cole is pitching tonight, so that should be interesting for the Yankees. But looking over this series, I think really, just simply put, the Yankees got to win it. The Yankees got to win. They have to beat this Orioles team. They have to get things going. They really have not done great these past few weeks. Got beat in a series by the Blue Jays, by the Rays, by the Mets, all these kind of things. And I think they have to be able to rebound to beat this Orioles team. And, they're not in Yankee Stadium. They're not at home. But I think they have to be able to find a way and beat this team and really kind of give their fans some hope. Because right now, their fans are not looking great. They're not doing great. They're really not thinking what good things about this Yankees team. And I think it's their job to prove them otherwise and get the fans on their side. For the Orioles, beating the Yankees is always nice. Simply put is that. I mean, they have to keep their hold on first place in the AL East right now. Looking at it currently, they are how many games above the Yankees in the AL East? So currently they are 2 games. So if you lose the series, you might lose the hold you have had on first place for this little while now. So if I'm the Orioles, I'm hoping that to keep this division intact. So yeah, just always a big deal when you have these 2 divisional matchups happening, and really hoping for the Orioles' sake that for the Orioles and Yankees' sake, this is a good series and both teams fight, and just the Yankees got to give their fans something good for the first time in a little while right now. They really have been struggling. Next, we have Royals and Red Sox, which is a very, very interesting game. Both teams with great pitching staffs, so it should be some battles of good pitching here. And when you're looking at the AL wild card right now, you're looking at the Yankees. Sorry, not the Yankees. You're looking at the Royals and the Red Sox. They are very close together. Looking at the AL wild card, currently the Red Sox are in the 3rd position for the wild card spot, and the Royals are right behind them, only 1 game behind. So this series really determines who goes into the All-Star break being in the playoffs, the Royals and the Red Sox, and it's very big. Both these teams obviously, of course, want to be in the playoffs. They want to be able to have their teams make the playoffs this year. And if I'm a Royals fan, I'm really hoping I get in the playoffs. If I'm a Red Sox fan, I'm very much hoping that my team is able to continue the fun storyline that they've had this year. And just overall, very much hoping that they are able to continue this great season they've had as a Red Sox fan, and as a Royals fan as well. Both these teams fighting for the wild card and fighting for the 3rd seed into the All-Star break, which is very important. Cubs and Cardinals as well. Two divisional matchups. Two teams in the same division. Always a rivalry as well with these 2 teams. Cubs are really just hoping for any last one breath to be able to not fully blow it up at the deadline, and the Cardinals are looking to reinforce their belief that they are a good team. They're in the 2nd spot of the wild card right now, right just above the Mets and the Padres. And if I'm them, I got to win this series against this Cubs team. Got to take advantage of this Cubs team really not doing great this right now, and being able to take advantage of that. Keep my standing in this wild card. I'm only 3 behind the Braves for the 1st spot. I don't think it's impossible for you to get there. So, Cubs are just holding on to any hope that they can stay in this race, and the Cardinals are really trying to solidify their position as they go into the break. Braves and Padres, last one, kind of the same. Braves are the top seed. Padres are tied with the Mets for the last seed of the wild card right now. Both teams are continuing to try and be in this wild card race, solidify their chances, and right now the Padres are a little bit of a rough patch. They lost to the Mariners. The Mets overtook their spot for the wild card, and because the Mets did sweep them a little while ago, the Mets do have the tiebreaker and are in the wild card over them. So that is interesting. But if I'm a Braves fan, I just want to win this series, beat this good Padres team, and be able to solidify myself as the top wild card seed going into the break. And if I'm the Padres, I want to be able to hold a wild card seed going into this break. The Mets are playing the Rockies, so I don't really think they're going to lose that series. At least I'd hope not. So you really got to come in clutch here if you're a Padres fan, if you're part of the Padres team, and just be able to, keep this team in the wild card race right now while you're kind of struggling a little bit going into the All-Star break. Get rested up and go back out there again. Going back over these 5 series again, Rangers and Astros, a battle for both the division and the wild card. Yankees and Royals battle for first place in the AL East. Royals and Red Sox battle for the last wild card seed in the AL. Cubs and Cardinals. Cubs trying to stay alive whatsoever, and the Cardinals trying to keep their wild card spot. Braves and Padres both just trying to keep alive in the wild card. So yeah, that is our show for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this week. Really have a great weekend. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Hit the notification bell to not only get notified when I upload, when all the other great content creators on this channel do. I'm your host, Sam Medzi. It's been great. It's been great talking to you guys this week. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see if baseball throws at us over this weekend. Thanks, guys, and bye.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn it.